And welcome along to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub ahead of Leicester City's next game in the Emirates FA Cup this season. Of course, wins already against Millwall and Birmingham tonight. It's Premier League opposition and Bournemouth as the Foxes travel down to the south coast this evening. Right, let's get all of tonight's team news for you, fresh, hot off the press, as we are an hour away now from kickoff. And Enzo Maresca promised changes, and he's kept that promise. He makes 9 from the side that lost to Leeds on Friday evening. It's easier, really, to name the 2 that retain their place from Friday evening. That's Yannick Vestergaard and Hamza Chowdhury. Arjan Raiki makes his first start for the club. It's Stolarczyk, Doyle, Vestergaard, Cody and Chowdhury. Raiki, we think, in that defensive midfield position with Pratt and Yunus just in front of him. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Marcel on the left, Albrighton on the right, Tom Cannon up top. On the bench, it's Ward, Justin, Iheanacho, Sutar, Fatawu, Ricardo, Nelson, Silko Thomas and Logan Briggs. A little bit on those 2 somewhat later on in the show tonight. Maybe we'll even see them making their Foxes bows, of course. Right, from a Bournemouth point of view, they've beaten QPR and Swansea to reach this stage of the competition, but they've not won a league game since Boxing Day. That's winless in 7. They make 6 changes to the side that narrowly lost to the holders of this competition, Manchester City, at the weekend. It's Travers, Kirkis, Sensi, Sabani and Smith across their back four, Billing and Cook in midfield, Sinistera, Scott and Altara are in behind their striker this evening, Unal. Well, they're both the lineups for the sides this evening at the Vitality Stadium. Our lineup this evening in the studio is David Nugent alongside Jerry Taggart. Big shock horror, we've got a Nuge goal to look forward to against Bournemouth, but not a Jerry Taggart one, I'm afraid. Matt Elliott is on the south coast as well. We'll catch up with him throughout the show. He's actually made it on time for once, hasn't he, tonight, Jerry? And you're pleased that he's gone down there and you're here in the studio
well,
tonight.
Yeah. Listen, I spoke to Matt earlier today. I was just about to go out and walk the dog before coming here. And fair play to Matt. I think the penny has finally dropped with him where he said, well, I need to get my skates on a bit earlier. And I think he was leaving around about 1:15 this afternoon to get down there.
I bet he's had a little sleep as well.
And exactly. And he's even had enough time to, have a few snores in the back of his car while he's down there. But so well done to Matt.
A busy day, I'm sure, for you, Nuge, but we're looking ahead, of course, to FA Cup action again this evening.
Yeah, no, it's a great opportunity. You've seen the team for the lads coming in to make an impact and show Enzo that they're good enough. Obviously, from the Leeds game, they'll be disappointed from the result-wise. But performance against Leeds, I thought was excellent. Now, they can put the feet up rest a little bit and let these youngsters and first team players see if they can get through to the next round of the FA Cup.
Yes, coming up on the show throughout the next hour, we'll build up, of course, to kick off. We will take a quick glance back at that game on Friday against Leeds in the Championship. Really bitter disappointment in the end. We'll look how the Foxes have got to this stage of the competition so far. We'll hear from that man, Enzo Maresca. I said at the very top that he promised those changes. He's delivered with 9 of them. We'll come on to team news in just a moment. And we'll also take a closer look at tonight's hosts, who, in terms of form, are struggling, but actually performances on the pitch apparently has been a lot better than that. We'll hear about that a little bit later on. Firstly, then, team news, Jerry.
Yeah.
We get the team back on the screens for you. There's one outstanding name in terms of someone, obviously, we might not know too much about. Arjan Raiki in midfield, signed from Aston Villa, has actually played in this competition before a couple of times, once even for Villa. In terms of that, we know the other players, don't we? They're all senior players, but a big chance for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Raiki's, as he says, come off the bench before. I can't remember the game. It might have been against Birmingham, actually. The first time I seen him, anyway. And as you say, Yunus started in the last game against Birmingham. Pratt scored in that game as well. Brighton had a really good game that day. So, I'm one of these believers that when you look around, you've got expensive players sat on the bench, normally week in, week out. Obviously, apart from Hamza and Vestergaard. And Stolarczyk as well, he starred in that game against Birmingham. So you have to give these players a chance. Now, maybe a little bit of a shock to some people that he's made that many changes going to a Premier League side. But you have to be fair to these players. And to be fair to Enzo as well, he's come out and stated that he was going to make changes, a lot of changes, and he stuck to his word. And to be fair, the majority of these players are the players that got him through to this round. So they deserve a start, because there's nothing worse sitting on the bench week in, week out and not getting minutes on the pitch. So now is your chance to go and show the manager what you can do.
The back line there, it's still an experienced back line, isn't it? It's not like you say you've got Cody, Vestergaard, Hamza Chowdhury and Callum Doyle. All these have played in the Championship this season, in Championship games. So it's an opportunity for it to come in, especially Cody, I think. Hasn't played a lot of game time. He's a leader out there. He's going to have to be on today against this Premier League side. It's only Raki, really. We'll probably see Wanya Marcel, the youngsters out there who've not really played much this season, but what an opportunity to go out there against the Premier League side and prove a point.
Judging from just having a look at the replies on social media to Leicester's team, some of the fans are surprised and think it's actually stronger than what even they were expecting.
Right.
That's a competitive side in the Championship. That.
He's not. He's not like, he hasn't gone there and thought, right, listen, we need to get out of this competition because of what happened on Friday night. He's gone there with a team that can compete. Tom Cannon's back in the starting lineup. A lot of people, would think that Tom Cannon should be starting on a Saturday for whatever reason. But, he gets a start tonight. He just has to put himself in the shop window again with a good performance. Question marks for Enzo. And I say that, Marcel's started this season. Dennis Pratt's had a run in the team as well.
There's international.
Absolutely, there's a lot of experience.
Cody,
it's not like it's not like he stuck a team out there that hasn't got any experience at all. And especially through the middle, which is where you expect to see through the backbone of the team, and he's got plenty of it.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting game then, won't it? For that reason, Bournemouth themselves a little bit out of form. They've made 6 changes. They've still got some of their stronger and more talented players in there. The likes you think of Scott, particularly Billing in midfield.
Yeah, no, they've got quality players. The Premier League players. That's why they're in the Premier League. Alex Scott, bought for a lot of money from Bristol City. Philip Billing, international. Sinistera, international. Utara, international. So they get international players as well. But they have made changes. So what an opportunity it is for Leicester to go there and try and cause an upset.
And in a competition Leicester fans obviously know very well now, Jerry, and we know what was it? Well, 3 years ago it'll be.
3 years,
in May, but more memories like that would be incredible.
Well, no, absolutely. I think, one thing that springs to mind as soon as, Bournemouth come out of the hat, it was that Leicester's form down at Bournemouth in recent times hasn't been great. I won't mention the 1 or 2 games, but it's fair to say that the form down there hasn't been great results-wise. So again, another opportunity in the cup competition that, to put that right.
It'll be interesting if they do start playing out from the back and playing out Enzo's way of playing. If the Premier League clubs will come out and press, and if we do make a mistake, we don't really get punished, do we? But now we're playing Premier League players. Yeah. Will they punish us if we give the ball away in mistakes that we do usually?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a good point. Because you'd expect moving up a level, even though Bournemouth have made those 6 changes. That if they do give the ball away in their own half of the pitch or in their own final third of the pitch, how do they react to that? Or can they make sure that they make minimal mistakes while trying to play out from the back and then see decision making on the ball, i.e., for want of a better word, if it's not on, just playing the percentage football. It'll be interesting to see how they sort of adapt to coming away to a Premier League side.
Well, speaking of getting punished, I guess, Leicester were punished on Friday evening, Jerry, weren't they, for not taking their chances? You were there at Ellen Road, of course, on what for 80 minutes looked like it was going to be a brilliant result. Didn't end up that way, did it? Of course, we can see the goals, but it could have been better. But I guess the overall mindset that the Leicester supporters and the group have got to have is that they were brilliant. On another day, they're 3-4-0 up there.
Yeah, I think, sometimes in football you don't always get what you deserve. And I think that was the case on Friday night for Leicester. You know, obviously question marks over a couple of the goals. But as far as chances created, I mean, that second half, the beginning of the second half, Leicester totally dominated the football match. And Highlight didn't score, add to the thing. And obviously there was the disallowed goal that should have been allowed, but that's the Championship, no VAR as we know, so you take the rough for the smooth, that's the way it goes. We've had decisions go our way this season without VAR, and unfortunately that was a decision that went against us. Big moment in the game, I have to say as well. So yeah, unlucky, but you know, if they play anywhere near that between now and the end of the season, you can't see too many issues still. I mean, some of the football was electric.
I'm still getting over it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I had so many friends text me saying, "Oh, I've Leicester not won that." I said, "You didn't take your chances. We've had 3 glorious chances. Obviously, the offside goal that wasn't
Hit the post.
hit the post with the head off from that chance. You've had the Daka one and the Mavididi one where he's coming in on that angle. Take one of them chances, the game's over. But you know, as Ellen Road, you just need one little thing at Ellen Road to turn against you, and the crowd get behind the team, and they kind of stuck that ball in, and you know, Leicester got punished for it in the end.
I think that was the main thing. That, you know, the longer the game stayed 1-0, and obviously they made a couple of positive changes, Leeds bringing James on and Bamford,
yeah.
and they did affect the game. But I think the longer the game stayed at 1-0, and you're seeing your team going up the other end and squander really good chances, then you've got to think, we're at Ellen Road here. The crowd are going to try their best. The manager's obviously trying his best with his changes he's made. They've got a deep squad, Leeds, for the Championship. Eventually, something's going to give. And unfortunately, it did.
And looking away that I guess the chances didn't go in at one end, and there were some deflections and some fortune in the goals that went in at Leicester's end.
Even the first one, you know, Vestergaard's clearance, he tried to flick it away and he's just caught the back of his heel and fell to Robert Tanner for the first goal. Second goal deflects off, two deflections in it. First hits Hamza then onto Wout, is it?
All I'll say on that, on the second goal is, as a defender, you've got to be prepared to take one where it hurts. And I think if you watch both Hamza and Wout, they both turn their back, both turn sideways on. And it's not the first time that's happened. You know, Ipswich away. Ipswich's equalising goal was sort of exactly the same. They're turning their backs when you think, well, no, stand up, be strong, and take one where it hurts if you have to. And you have I'm not saying the outcome would have been the same. I'm not saying that the outcome, would have been different, but at least you're giving yourself a better chance. That's all. It's still mightily unlucky how that sneaks in at the near post.
Mad's going the opposite direction as well. He's got to change direction, so it's hard for him. And then the third goal, I think Dan James just hit it as hard as he could and hit Bamford on the knee.
That was going 5 yards wide. He's tried to bend that in the bottom
Mm.
corner, and it's going nowhere near. It's going 5 yards wide.
And he runs away as if he's scored.
I know, and then obviously it hits Bamford on the knee. He knows nothing about it. But again, what Bamford did do, he kept his eye on the ball as he's shooting. He didn't turn his back. And he made sure he got something on it. And it luckily, he ended up in the back of the net.
I was going to say, but it was a really positive performance, probably away from home.
I
thought Leicester were absolutely fantastic second half. Just the last 10 minutes, the goals, just got punished for it.
It's literally exactly what I was about to say, to sort of finish the points really from Friday, is that they can take that from that, and they can take confidence in the fact that if they play like that in their remaining 12 games,
Well, I heard their manager and some of the players saying they deserve to win. They've got to say that. They've got to say that to keep their fans happy. They know deep down that Leicester should have been 3-4-0 up and the game should have been over.
Yeah, like you said, they've got to say that. Yeah. But in that dressing room, the Leeds dressing room, they're all like, have we won that game? Because, some of the chances, some of the football Leicester played was exquisite at times.
Yeah, let's hope we maybe see some of it tonight, certainly on Saturday against QPR here at King Power Stadium. Right, let's move our attention back, of course, to the Emirates FA Cup and take a look back at how Leicester made it through to this stage of the competition with a win over Birmingham in the 4th round.
Towards Chowdhury, that's a risky ball, it's given away and it's a big early chance. It's for Birmingham City, left-hand side of the penalty area, and a first save from Solarczyk. And perhaps an early wake-up call for Leicester, but they've lost it again, and Birmingham City coming forward again.
As it has gone wrong on a couple of occasions, but they've got away with it.
Oh, it's fantastic work from Birmingham, who are in on goal here, and a great save again from Solarczyk. It's the best chance that Birmingham City have had. It was Jordan James who broke in behind after a fantastic move, but it was Solarczyk down swiftly to his left-hand side. Here's a chance for Birmingham again. Dembele finds Anderson. Another fantastic save from Solarczyk. Again down to his left-hand side. He managed to get to it second time round too to stop any deflections that Leicester City are looking to emerge into. Here's Albrighton now, out wide for Leicester City, sends his ball into the penalty area, and Vardy there with the header. And how about that? After all the chances that Birmingham had in the first half, it's taken 2 minutes of the second for Leicester City to storm into the lead. Cannon now on the edge of the penalty area. There was an option just behind, it's picked up by Yunus! And it's thundered in. A rocket into the back of the Birmingham net as Leicester City double their advantage. Yunus with his first goal for the club. There's the ball in behind towards Tom Cannon. Ruddy's come off his line, but Cannon is very far out wide as he lays it off towards Dennis Pratt, who makes it 3. Well, it was fantastic work from Tom Cannon to get away from John Ruddy and then keep things alive as he got his head up, found Dennis Pratt.
Yes, well, in the end, on paper, a comfortable 3-0 win for Leicester in the last round. We'll come on to it in just a moment. It actually wasn't really that case, was it? Jakub Stolarczyk, brilliant in the first half. But yeah, overall, when you come to the stadium in the morning, you've got a home game in the FA Cup. That what you want at the end of the day is to be in the hat, and that's what they were.
Yeah, that's the main aim, is being in the hat at the end of the day. You know, Birmingham have a lot of chances. I was at the game. You know, they could have easily been 3-0 up, 4-0 up at half time. But again, if you don't take your chances, you know, you get punished for it. And you know, the first goal, you know, Mark Albrighton, you know, vintage that in it, the first one for Vardy's header. And then a great finish by Yunus to wrap it up, and then obviously Dennis Pratt at the end to seal it. And you know, we've seen some of the saves here by Stolarczyk. He had a worldy day against Birmingham. You know, looked unbeatable at some well throughout the game, and kept Leicester in that first half.
Yeah, I think, you know, especially in the early rounds as well, and when you're bringing, you know, players like Stolarczyk in, who doesn't really get a look in the league, then the games can have a bit of a funny atmosphere about them, and you know, the start to them. But it was one of them games where, okay, Leicester didn't start that way, and obviously Birmingham come to town, they need a win from anywhere because they're struggling in the league at the time. But in that second half, you say, you know, Leicester controlled the second half and ran out easy winners in the end. I suppose you could say it was just that first half an hour where they just couldn't get that momentum, where the type of football that Enzo wants to see. They just couldn't really get it going in that first half. But definitely second half was a big improvement.
There were 7 changes in that team as well, so maybe the players just needed to adjust a bit and get used to it. You might see the game same again tonight, but hopefully the players can, you know, adapt to it a little bit quicker and get used to the pace of the game.
It's never easy, is it? No. When you're coming in, when you say you have it, and there's like 6 or 7 players that don't play regularly, and you want to see this free-flowing football. It just doesn't happen like that all the time. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't.
I think match fitness is massive as well. Yeah. You know, you do a lot of training, you know, week in, week out, but if you're not playing in the games, it's hard to come in and get straight up to pace. You know, it takes a toll on you.
We saw, obviously, I'm just thinking in terms of confidence for some of the players. Yunus with that brilliant goal, even Dennis Pratt on the score sheet, a brilliant ball from Albrighton to Jamie Vardy. If, for example, someone like Tom Cannon gets on the score sheet tonight, gets a couple, then he can go to the manager and say, I'm confident I'm in form, I've scored, play me against QPR at the weekend. That's what they'll all be saying to themselves, these players tonight.
Yeah, no, again, it's an opportunity to come in and shine. You know, Tom Cannon probably feel hard done by that he's not played more games. You know, when he first came in, he got a few goals, playing well, you know, a few assists to his name, and then again, he's back for a choice again. So that's when you got 3 strikers, 4 strikers like we have. You know, you've got to score every game, haven't you?
Yeah.
Try and keep that, you know, the share in the starting 11. But it's a tough ask for him. But he's got an opportunity to come in, you know, score. Obviously, Daka missed a couple of chances against Leeds, so Tom's thinking, well, if I come on, do well tonight, score a few goals, I'll be in contention against QPR.
From the outside looking in, Dan, you know, people like Tom Cannon, Mark Albrighton, one or two others, you've got to say they've done nothing wrong.
No.
That you think, well, yeah, he could come in and do a job on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. But obviously we're not in that inner sanctum where the manager sees what goes on day in, day out, attitude of players, so on and so forth. But definitely, if you're talking about Tom Cannon, he can probably feel a little bit hard done to. Like he's not played it more than he already has. But then you look at Patson Daka's performances in recent times, and he stepped up to the plate, stepped up to the mark. You know, had a perfectly good goal chalked off the other night. His hold up play is getting better. His closing down is getting better. He's understanding how Enzo wants to play. So yeah, you know, it's all about what the manager sees and not necessarily what we think.
Right, we've just seen some pictures, of course, of the players, that the team warming up down on the south coast. Looks like a relatively cold one. Mark Albrighton there, you know exactly what you're going to get from him, and you got that against Birmingham.
Yeah, you know, as soon as he gets the ball out of his feet on that wing, you know the ball's coming into the box. He very rarely takes him on now. Probably lost a couple of yards, you know, as you get a little bit older, but he's still got quality. You know, he trains, he looks after himself, you know, week in, week out, and he gets an opportunity to, you know, put a performance in. You know, he loves playing for this club.
Yeah.
And, you know, FA Cup, he was in the squad that won it, you know, 3 years ago. So for him, there's an opportunity for a game and try and get as far as you can in the cup as well.
Yes, again, you know, he'll be relishing this because again, he's not featuring every week, and he's probably one of those players that, I'm not saying he needs to play every week, but he's just got such a great engine and a great attitude. You know, for him to sit on the bench on a regular basis is probably not in where he wants to be, especially at this part of his career. He wants to see it out playing football, so it's a big game for him, a big opportunity.
Yeah, he was on this very sofa ahead of a league game a couple of weeks ago, Sheffield Wednesday, I think, at home, and he's just spoke about that love for the club that he has, the love for playing, and he'll, like you said, he'll just be relishing tonight.
Yeah, he went on loan, didn't he? Probably didn't want to go on loan when Brendan was in charge, but as you say, you know, he's been at this club a long time. You know, he loves playing for the club and relishing a chance just to make an impact on the pitch. You know, he would have been ideal to come on in the game against Leeds, maybe, you know, for that experience. You know, obviously young Casey McAteer came on for that threat and behind, but if you put Mark Albrighton on, you know what you're going to get. And I think we missed that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, that's to say, you never get sick of saying Vardy. You know,
Albrighton to
Vardy. You know, how many times have we seen that? And again, you know, that was a vital goal at the beginning of the second half. You know, and it's a simple move. You know, when you think about it, it's just one touch, cross it, because I know the little genius is going to be in the box.
Well, Tom Cannon will relish that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. If you're a striker when Mark Albrighton's playing, you know you're going to get at least 15 crosses a game to try and get your head on it. So it's up to Mark to put it in the box and for Tom to get on the end of it and try and score them goals.
I think the difference between the like of a Tom Cannon, he's got to learn to understand what Mark Albrighton does probably better than anybody else at this level, i.e. one touch, cross. Yeah. All strikers would tell you, they've included, they love early balls into the box. And that's what Mark Albrighton gives you. He don't mess about. If he can put it in early, he will. And Tom Cannon now has to try and get on to Mark Albrighton's wavelength.
And you don't aim for you when he's crossing it. He puts in an area, he's going to attack it, so you're always on the move. You don't want to be stood still in the box. So as he gets out his feet, you got to make that move into the 18-yard box, maybe 6-yard box to get on the end of it.
Yeah, and as we've already established, and we'll get to it a little bit later, of course, you know how to do that against Bournemouth. News, right, Albrighton is one of the 9 changes made by Enzo Maresca this evening. In his pre-match press conference, he said he'd make either 9, 10 or even 11, and he was also been assessing what it's like to play against a Premier League side tonight.
It's always a good opportunity to play these kind of games, for sure. But in the same time, we are going to make many changes, as we always have done in the past, because we have also different players that they can play tomorrow. So it will be a good game, and hopefully we can do something important.
And the opposition coach, the man in the opposite dugout, Andoni Iraola, someone that you've faced many times in your time in Spain as a player. How well do you know him, and how impressed are you with the work that he's done at Bournemouth?
No, I know that he's doing a good work now. Also in Spain, he did very good in the last 2-3 years. Yeah, and I faced, as you said, many times as a player when I was in Spain. But now both we are a little bit older, so we change a little bit.
On the FA Cup tomorrow evening, it comes 3-4 days later after the defeat to Leeds. Is that a good thing to be playing so quickly after that defeat?
But we are, as I just said, tomorrow we are going to make 9, 10, 11 change because, as we said, we have more players that they deserve their chances tomorrow. For sure, we are going to prepare the game in the best way we can, try to win the game. But in the same time, we don't need to prove nothing in terms of, oh, we lost the other day, now we need to go, and we need just to make our best and to try to win the game.
This is the 5th round. That a win would take you into the quarterfinals. How much would that mean to you as a coach?
No, yeah, absolutely. Could be something very important. This is the reason why we are going to try to prepare the game in the best way we can, to try to win the game. But also, they are going to do the same.
What have you made to Bournemouth when you've analysed them and the way you expect them to play?
Yeah, they are very aggressive. They are man-to-man oriented against any team. I watch many their games, so they are very intense. And on the ball, they try to play every time, so it will be a nice game.
There's no temptation to change what you're doing then because of how well you performed. Just a lack of finishing. There's no need to think, oh, I need to change this, and this. It's just a case of keep doing what you are doing. Results will come.
Absolutely. We don't need to change nothing. We need to improve things, but change. I think completely in the other side that we are good. It's just as we said. I was not thinking to finish the season with 10 or 15 more points, because for me, I said since day one, for me this is a PlayStation. It's not the reality, and we are happy where we are. We are comfortable where we are, and now it's just as we said many times, matter of to finish in the best way we can.
That was Enzo Maresca there speaking ahead of this FA Cup clash with Bournemouth tonight. You had a smile and a laugh, Jerry, didn't you, at one line in particular from Enzo Maresca when he referenced the PlayStation football that at times Leicester have been playing throughout the season. But I guess results were always... You can't win every game, not in the Championship. Certainly.
No, absolutely. And I think, for Enzo, when everybody else was getting carried away earlier on in the season, with some of the football and obviously the amount of results he was getting, and he was the one that was keeping a level head and realising that, hold on a minute, surely this cannot go on for the rest of the season. And I'm not saying that's something that, he keeps saying to the players, you're going to lose sometime. There'll be no negative feedback from Enzo to the players, but, he understands that the Championship is a slog. We've been saying it all season because we've all been there, seen it and done it, that it is a slog, and sooner or later, you're going to come unstuck. It's always about the reaction. you give to getting bad results. Every team that's at the top of the table chasing for promotion have all had blips in and out of the season, and that is just the way it is, you know. But now they've got to pick themselves up and they've got to go again, because I said the other night, nothing's won or lost with that result against Leeds. Obviously, they can put the league to one side for tonight's game, and this is an opportunity to go again and start and get themselves back into a good run, into a good form.
Yeah, he said it's just about the reaction. The reaction on the pitch is what you want from your players. Coming from a defeat which probably wasn't deserved. So the lads are still confident. You know, they played really well in that game. So this is just about the players out there tonight putting performance, try and get a victory into the next hat, and then move on to QPR, which is probably what Enzo is looking forward to the most. He's still looking forward to this game, but he knows that the league is the bread and butter. He knows the club needs to get back into the Premier League, and he'll be looking ahead for that QPR game as well.
Right, go on.
No.
I was going to say we'll cross over to Matt now.
Okay.
Who's down at the Vitality.
This will be interesting.
At Bournemouth. Speaking of someone who loved playing in the Cup, loved playing at Wembley, of course, Matt Elliott. Good evening to you. How was your drive down? Apparently you've had a little snooze in the car this afternoon.
Evening, gentlemen. Yeah, all has been nice and cosy until I got here. Nice little 3-hour saunter down to the south coast. An hour's kip in the car park, as Gerald mentioned earlier, as we arranged in our little previous phone call. Then it went a bit downhill. I looked at the car park and it said you've got to apply for an app for payment, and that's problems for me. Took me about 45 minutes to sort out. In fact, I'm lying, I didn't sort it out. Chris Parrott did. Then I had the worry of getting into the Wi-Fi system here and getting onto this connection, which again, my colleague Julie helped me out, and otherwise it would have been a little bit of pandemonium. Then I found out my name wasn't on the door on the media listings, and I'm officially tonight Gerald Taggart. Okay. All right. And then to top it off, the worst bit of the night, I bumped into Martin Keown and I had to speak to him for 5 minutes.
Right, let's concentrate on the game then, Matt. Are you looking forward to that? Are you hoping that that'll cheer you up from this long day that you've had?
I'm hoping so, yeah. So are a lot of expectant Leicester City supporters. Had the pleasure of bumping into quite a few outside on my journey into the stadium. And they're coming from far and beyond, all over. Some just quite local, actually, in Brighton. I bumped into a Scottish supporter who comes down every game. He finds his way to every game, home and away. He lives up in Edinburgh on his own. So the fans have certainly made the effort, and you'd expect something similar from the players tonight, wouldn't you? Wholesale changes, as you've already discussed. Sorry, but a team that I think certainly the supporters will be hopeful, and the manager that they can certainly put on a performance and put up a challenge against a decent Bournemouth outfit.
Mark, Tags here, mate. How you doing? With Enzo making, what is it, nine changes this evening, how do you think Leicester go about winning this game tonight?
Yeah, I think they're going to be prepared to sort of, maybe for want of a better word, suffer a little bit, I think, at times, aren't they? I think they understand they're not going to probably dominate against a Premier League outfit away from home. Players not thrown together, but put into a position that they haven't faced collectively as an 11 before. But at the same time, I think that they'll be encouraged to go and express themselves, won't they, and go and play their football like Enzo Maresca likes his players to do. So I think it's got all the makings of a good contest. I think as long as they're going to try and play their football. For me, the question, well, there's two questions really. I've got one, and I think they'll be able to deal with that in terms of keeping hold of the ball and playing their football and being able to resist Bournemouth to a degree. But then, will they be able to produce any real threat to take them up the pitch a little bit, and to give Bournemouth something to think about and think, hang on a sec, they've got to take a backward step, which might nullify Bournemouth's potency. But it's going to be an interesting game. But I look at it. I mean, we talk about the squad depth, don't we, Tags? And tonight, there's evidence of it on paper, certainly in the defensive and midfield areas. They've got to go and back that up tonight, haven't they?
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Matt, just one other question. After you finally sorted out your car parking app and got yourself, you know,
in as Jerry Taggart.
Yeah, and in as me. Have you been into the canteen and sampled some wares?
You know there's always time for that, Jerry.
Yeah.
No matter how late or early I am, how rushed or confused, I'll find my way to the buffet.
Yeah.
But I actually got given an extra ticket by one of our colleagues, young Laura, who we all know. She gave me a second voucher in case I was feeling a bit peckish, but I was quite reserved tonight. It was nice, a little bit of sweet and sour chicken, rice and peppers montage it was. But
That's better than my chicken tikka pie then.
Yeah, I would say it was a touch above that. Although I was forced to eat it in a takeaway pot. And use my fingers for first 5 minutes before the knives and forks turned up, but that's another story.
Right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Matt. We'll hear from you again at, just before kickoff, as you're on co-commentary duty alongside Chris Parrott. Right, Nuge, it's that time of the show now.
Go on then.
It feels like every single time we've got you on, there's a goal scored by yourself against tonight's opposition. So let's take a look at tonight's viewing.
Dyer. This is David Nugent. Fabulous strike. Goal number 8 this season. Calm and composed. Right into the far corner.
That was methodical. You could see as soon as he turned, composure. I hate saying it. And he didn't even look up though. He just knew where the corner of the net was and he stroked that.
It's not all about power,
that was a really neat finish, that, to be honest.
Caressed it into the corner side net and keep it on saving.
Yeah. You're pleased with yourself, aren't you, every time we get to see these?
Yeah. Lloyd Dyer usually goes down the outside and crosses it. But he wanted a 1-2 there, but the defender followed him, so I decided to turn up myself and shoot. And
there's just a little bit ahead, just that little moment of pause. Where he's just gallered himself before he strokes it into the corner. So you know that's, dare I said, a little touch of class there from Dave Nugent.
Came off at half-time as well. Not feeling too good as well.
Yeah.
Good job of scoring.
Yeah.
Got your goal though, didn't you? Let's hope we get a goal tonight for Leicester striker Tom Cannon. He is one of 9 changes that has been made by Enzo Maresca ahead of the game this evening. Hamza Chowdhury and Yannick Vestergaard, 2 of those that retain their place in the team from Friday evening. That game, of course, that defeat to Leeds on Friday. Notably as well, a debut for young Arjan Raiki. We think he'll be playing in defensive midfield this evening, down at Bournemouth. Matt Elliott, very glad it wasn't an afternoon kickoff, I'm sure. He'd have to set off even earlier, wouldn't he? Right, let's finally hear from Hamza Chowdhury, Leicester City right back / central midfielder, we think, tonight. He's been speaking to Chris Parrott ahead of the game.
Hamza, you're one of the survivors from that amazing day at Wembley 3 years ago. Placing the quarterfinals tonight, if you were to win, how much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, obviously very fond memories of this competition, but yeah, I'm actually looking forward to another opportunity to get another win and, like you said, progress into the quarterfinals.
You were one of those who did start on Friday night. How easy has it been to dust yourself off after those late goals to go again?
It's always difficult to come back after a loss, but I think the manner that we lost is frustrating. But I think the previous 80 minutes, as everyone's seen, we were very good and we played the best football. So it's difficult, but like you say, it's the beauty of the Championship. We're used to Saturday, Tuesday. So dust yourself off and it's another opportunity to put things back on the right track.
What are you expecting from Bournemouth this evening?
Obviously a lot of quality. They're a Premier League side and they bring obviously high intensity. So tough task. Every game we play is tough, but hopefully we can put our stamp on the game and play football how we want to play.
You're going to be backed by nearly 2,000 travelling Leicester fans. It's a long way on a Tuesday night. How important will that support be?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. We've got very, very good travelling fans, but like I said, very, very important to us and help us get over the line at certain stages and give us the confidence to go on and win the game, hopefully.
Yes, that was Hamza Chowdhury there. One of 9 changes, as we said, for the game tonight. Let's get a quick recap of tonight's team news then, as Enzo Maresca said that he would make changes. Indeed, he has done. Jakub Stolacic, very much the hero of the fourth round, with those brilliant saves that we looked at a little bit earlier in the first half of that game. He's in goal. Doyle, Vestergaard, Cody and Chowdhury play in front of him, with Arjan Raiki making his first Leicester City start in midfield. Yunus and Dennis Pratt just ahead of him, with Marçal and Marco Brighton, the two wingers, in behind Tom Cannon. From a Bournemouth point of view, they narrowly lost at home to the champions Manchester City, also, of course, the holders of this competition. They've got Travers in goal. Kirkus, Senise and Zabrani are the three of the defenders, along with Smith. It's Billing and Cook in midfield. Sinistera, Scott, Utara are in behind Unal. Well, they're both of tonight's teams, and we've touched upon them both, of course, already, and the quality in that Bournemouth side. But they'll be looking at the game, Jerry, thinking it's a winnable chance against the Championship side that have made a lot of changes. But confidence-wise, they've not won since Boxing Day.
Well,
in the league, they've won in the FA Cup, of course. They found themselves 2-0 down in the third round to QPR as well. They managed to turn that one round, but.
Again, so you're right, they're coming into the game. They must be lacking confidence, not winning in the league. All right, it's a Premier League, so they can be forgiven. And they've had a couple of draws as well. They were unlucky, apparently, against Man City, who scored late on to beat them. But you've got to be thinking, where's the next win coming from? Football, again, it's all about winning. That's where you get your confidence from. I understand that performance-wise as well, you can take a lot of positives out of it. Especially at home, you want to get a win under your belt for the fans, that feel-good factor. So Leicester, again, have nothing to fear here. For me, for Leicester, it's about staying resilient, don't make any mistakes at the back. Set pieces, as always, will be massive. And can you wear Birmingham's confidence down? Can you play on that lack of confidence because of the lack of results and change this FA Cup tie on its head?
I think it's an interesting game. Obviously both sides making changes, a lot of changes. It's just who adapts to the quickest to the game. I think Raki's got a massive job ahead of him. He's playing the Harry Winks role if he does play that holding midfielder, so he's going to be getting a lot of the ball. He needs to be composed on the ball, whether to lay it off, whether to turn, whether to go forward. Keep the ball, drive at the ball. He's been watching Harry Winks for the whole season, so he's probably learned a lot from him so far, and hopefully he can come in and make an impact and play that role down to a T.
Yeah, he'll be nervous, excited tonight.
Bit of both. You'd expect that. If he was strolling on there and thinking, so yeah, he's going to be nervous. He's going to be excited to get on there and try and perform. It's a big stage for him. There's not too many games on tonight in the FA Cup, so it's a good opportunity for people to have a first look at him. And so what can you produce? Without, obviously, Enzo will have taken a lot of pressure off him as well, but these games are watched on a worldwide stage, and he's going to be on there, showing what he's got.
Just give him the ball straight away from kickoff, give him the ball, let him have a touch of the ball, let him have a few touches, get him into the game, and hopefully that'll settle him down.
Yeah, can you remember how you felt ahead of your first start?
I can, yeah. I was 16 for Bury. I remember receiving the ball on the wing and it went right underneath my foot. So it wasn't the best start.
Should have been hooked straight away.
First minute. See you later.
But he has got an opportunity, and he's playing against Premier League quality as well, as we've mentioned in that midfield, particularly the likes of Billing and Scott. So if he has a good game tonight, then he can say to Enzo, look, I managed against them. Let me get more minutes in the league as well.
Yeah, I think, and again, you need, I think for Enzo at the minute, with a couple of injuries he's still got, then he's looking around and thinking who can potentially fill a void in the team. So he gets a chance. I think as well, when you're a young kid and you're coming in to a game like this, you're away from home, so you haven't got that home fan support for a start. So that just adds to the drama a little bit, your own drama, should I say. It's important to not try and do too much too early on in the game. So, as David's just said, give him the ball early, but make sure it's simple.
It's a 5-yard pass.
It's a simple pass, and if you get 3 or 4 or 5 of them 5-yard, 10-yard passes in simple passes, then you're sort of working out the opposition. By the time 15, 20 minutes come along, can you now open up and go and express yourself and show everybody what you've got. But so that's how you get over these early stages, i.e. the nerves, the excitement.
Yeah, elsewhere on the bench for the Foxes, in terms of the younger players, the ones that Leicester fans may not know too much about, Silko Thomas on there as a winger, and Logan Briggs as well. He's an attacking midfielder / winger. He's actually the holder of Leicester City's goal of the month for January. He's been at the club since, well, he was in the under-9s. We can take a look at the goal here. So this won goal of the month last month. We just announced this a couple of days ago. If that's a sort of quality that he has coming on, you never know. Again, the future's bright. We know how good the academy is here.
Well, Enzo loves his inverted wide players, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. And that's a perfect example of, it's Morris-esque, dare I say it. But that's exactly, you can see why Enzo's put him in the squad, because he loves an inverted wide player, and he loves one that can do that, being one in the top corner, and that's just perfect.
And it's another big night again then for the academy in terms of those two on the bench, Reich in midfield, and it's one that we know that it is a clear pathway. It's been a clear pathway here now for years at Leicester.
Yeah, no, they're not afraid to throw the kids in and give them a go. You've seen recently with Ben Nelson coming in. He looks like a colossus when he plays at the back. You got Wanya Marcel, coming in on the wing, Casey McAteer. So we have players who've come in and played in the first team, and it's just another chance for Thomas and Briggs to, if they do get a chance, to come on and shine, as they've done for the the younger age groups.
But we'll be looking obviously at the more experienced players. We have done already. We've spoken a lot about Mark Albrighton, even Cannon up front. Still young, but he's got a few games under his belt this season, of course. But that midfield again is Yunus. We know how good he can be. Dennis Pratt, Belgian international. The defence, Cody, England international. Vestergaard, Danish international. There's real experience there.
Yeah, exactly. You take the keeper out, but even the keeper's got good experience. Then the backbone of your team, was pretty experienced. You're expecting them guys to give younger lads a bit of a helping hand along the way, because they don't know the game inside out. They haven't played enough game. They haven't had enough minutes on the pitch to do that. So what you're trying to do, or what I would try to do as an experienced player, is try and talk to younger players all the time, encourage them. There's no need for you to give them a rollicking when they lose the ball. What they need is the experienced players help. And, with the likes of Connor Cody, that is the one thing you're guaranteed to get, is his mouth talking all the time.
Reich must be delighted he's behind us.
I was going to say, that's the experience what he needs. He needs Vestergaard and Cody for Raki to receive the ball off them. Tell him to turn, tell him man on. He's going to get this information. So there'll be a point in the game where he's going to receive the ball. He'll say turn, he can turn out and play his forward passes. There's going to be times where someone's up his backside, where he's going to have to lay it off. Cody and Vestergaard will give him all this information.
Yeah, it's vital. The communication, especially when you've got a young player in such an important position on the pitch. You're expecting Reiki to get on the ball along with Chowdhury and get Leicester on the front foot. So he needs as much help as he can from the two central defenders, because they're basically the closest players to him, number one. And two, obviously the two centre halves are they are the most experienced players in the side. So they're vital to try and help the younger guys.
Yeah, we're a couple of minutes away now before we hand over to the commentary team, and just over 10 minutes until kick-off. And we've spoken pretty much from the moment we came on the show just under an hour ago that it's an opportunity for these players to prove a point to Enzo Maresca and say, you've had to make 9 changes to put me in. At the weekend, you make less than that because I want to be playing against QPR on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I keep on saying it's an opportunity. It's hard to, claim a stay for Cody and Ben Nelson because Vestergaard and Wout Faes have been so good. And, obviously JJ's come in at left full back for Callum Doyle. Callum's struggling to get back into the side now because JJ's been that good.
Yeah.
So it's not as if Enzo's doesn't want to put them in. He just can't because the other players are playing so well. That's why we're top of the league, because we're playing the best football, and they're top of the league for a reason, because they're the best team. So it's hard to make so many changes for a league game. In a cup game, when you've got league games coming up, that's when you make the changes. You've seen it in previous rounds, 7 in the last, 9 this one. This is their opportunity to stake a claim. It might not work, but it's an opportunity that they've got to give today.
Well, I think and fair play to Enzo for this, because you know, would be easy. Callum Doyle was playing really well before he got injured. And JJ was out of the team, and obviously Callum was starting every week. But JJ came in, proved his worth, and Enzo stuck to his word and said, well, if you get in the team and you do well for me, you stay in the team. And so for the likes of the younger players, it might not, like Greg, it might not be a case of, well, I want to play on Saturday because you know, I've got Ricardo and Harry Winks in front of me, or Harry Winks especially in that. Yeah. But what it does do is moves you up the ladder that little bit and gets you closer to where you want to be. You might not get there straight away, but at least you're in the thoughts of the manager. And at least you know the manager, if he's telling you, if you play well for me, I'll include you in the squad at least, or in the match day, you know, starting 11. And now as an individual, all you need to do is make sure that when you get the opportunity to perform, you go out and make it happen, because then there's no excuses.
Yeah, no excuses is the line from Jerry. Thank you very much from that. We are now just under 10 minutes away from kickoff at the Vitality Stadium. It looks like a pretty full house as well for this game, where both sides know that if they win it, they're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Bournemouth have only ever done that twice before in their history. Leicester, we know, won this competition 3 years ago. They'll be hoping to go all the way again. To take us through it all after this short break will be Chris Parrott and Matt Elliott.
Who wants to join me? Shopping at King Power. 3-day, 2-night stay